Hey, Pastor, is there a difference between a spirit and a soul, or is it just two different words for the same thing?
I would kind of go with the latter. I think it's two words that mean basically the same thing.
Okay.
In theological circles, there are folks that they would say they believe in a dichotomy and some in a trichotomy.
Okay.
And there again, there's our Jeopardy
There we go.
terms.
Put your thinking caps on.
There's your dichotomy and trichotomy. Obviously, the dichotomy di-2, trichotomy tri-3.
Mm-hmm.
And so some people believe that we are divided into body, soul, and spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They believe those are three separate entities in a sense. Others believe in a dichotomy that soul and spirit basically mean the same thing. They may have a little different nuance to them, and I'll share that. But in essence, they would say, and I'm in the dichotomy camp. They would say that there is the physical, and then there is the non-physical, or the material and the immaterial.
Mm-hmm.
And so soul and spirit would be the immaterial that's spiritual, and the body obviously is physical.
Right.
And I tend to lean toward that camp. I think there is the physical body, and then there is what makes man who he really is. That's non-material,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, and that's made up of the soul and spirit. Now, where some people divide the soul and spirit, even people who believe in trichotomy or dichotomy, whether you believe it's two or three, they end up saying a lot of the same thing, that the soul of man has to do more with the animal instinct of a man, the lower part of
Mm-hmm.
man, the immaterial part of man, the lower part of man, and the spirit would be more of the higher part of man that would seek God. Okay. So the soul would be the lower part, the more animalistic part, and the spirit would be the higher part that would seek after God. But yet both of them still make up the immaterial part, the non-physical part, and so that's why I hold to the dichotomy, because there's no question, there's no doubt that there are places in Scripture that talk about soul and spirit, and it basically is talking about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That there's no question. There are some passages that talk about soul and spirit that arguably it could be talking about a difference nuance-wise, arguably, but without argument, there are some places that it's used interchangeably.
Yeah.
And so, so I just personally, I think it's soul and spirit basically are used interchangeably. If there's any difference, it's a very, very slight difference between the lower part of immaterial man and the higher part of immaterial man, and then of course physical body. So that's where I stand. I just, basically everything in life is either spiritual or physical.
Is there anything wrong with being one or the other? Like, is it like, well, if you're a trichotomist or trichotomist, are you, is it like you're a heretic, or is
no,
it just...
No. There are good, solid, scholarly people on both sides of that issue.
Gotcha.
That hold to both sides. And like I said, what's interesting to me about both of those sides, whether you're trichotomy or dichotomy, either way, when they get down to definitions of the spiritual side and the physical side, even if they believe in the three parts, it still doesn't wander outside of the realm of the physical and spiritual.
Yeah.
They just see two aspects of the spiritual.
Right.
And one aspect of the physical, whereas dichotomists would just say, well, there is physical and there is spiritual.
So there's at least two.
Yeah. So there's at least two. Some would believe that there's enough of a difference to say that their soul and spirit are completely different things, but they would still admit, but they are the non-material spiritual side of man.
Right.
So yeah, they're friends.
It seems as if, from just kind of the passages I'm recollecting in my head and just kind of the discussions that I've read about soul versus spirit and stuff like that.
Right.
When you get really down to it, of course, like we said, you can't deny there's a difference between the material and the immaterial.
Sure.
That you can't deny.
Right.
But when you start getting into a difference between soul and spirit, you can take that route if you want, but you really start splitting hairs and getting so technical
Yeah.
that you just almost just kind of lose yourself
Well,
it.
Yeah, you can get lost in the weeds
Yeah.
when you don't really have any reason to get lost in the weeds.
Right. You've kind of jumped through all these hoops, and for what?
It really doesn't produce anything.
Right. What progress did you
Yeah,
make on this?
Exactly.
And you can hold to it if you want, but
Right.
what did you accomplish?
Yeah.
What did you? Was it worth it?
If there was some meaning there that would really affect the spiritual outcome and dimension of man, well, then we need to really,
we need to figure this
pay
out.
careful attention on this, but if it's basically referring to the spiritual side of man with maybe some minor nuances to it, it's not really an argument.
Tomato.
It's not really an argument.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks again for joining us for another episode of Hey Pastor. If you have a question about the Bible, theology, or even day-to-day Christianity, email it to us at podcast@fellowshipchapel.us. Again, that's podcast@fellowshipchapel.us. Your question may be on a future episode. Thanks again for joining us. We hope to see you again next week. And remember that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life.